Howdy, all Molex Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Alright, You know, I realized my base covers this house. I mean, I didn't realize that. I purposely put it here. But it's not very close to any other buildings. And I don't have room for my garden. Even if I went up, it wouldn't be big enough, would it? Maybe. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Ooh, I've only got 46 health. Alright, well, let's get back out here today anyways. I see you. Walking down the street. Growling at me. Growl at that. My poor guy with his broke leg. So, man, you know, sometimes you really love something, and then you find out there's a sequel, and then you try not to get your hopes up about the sequel, and then the closer it gets, the more excited you get about the sequel anyways. And then the sequel arrives, and then you're like, oh, it's not right. That happened to me this week. I love Frostpunk, the first game, a lot. I've played it a ton. I think over 200 hours. I don't like that it sounds like there's a zombie coming from this corner to get me. Hey. Oh man, she just jumped up. Oh, you cheating devils. They hit me while on the ground. At least my health is back. But yeah, I love the original Frostpunk game. It is... There's a lot of other games that are similar, but none have been as good for me as original Frostpunk. Yeah, Ixion was pretty close. I really liked Ixion as well. Didn't make it all the way through that one, but I did like that one a bunch, and I have restarted it multiple times because it's that kind of game. And it did suffer from... I don't like... I mean, Frostpunk does it too. I don't like when a game is like, alright, here's the thing that you've got to do. And you do it. And then it's like, All right. So you've been doing the thing. You've been doing the thing you gotta do. But guess what? Even though you've done it enough for what you're doing, you didn't do it enough to successfully complete this part. So what are you gonna do about it now? And so I kind of hate that in a game. And um, I need to go back to Ixion. I gotta figure out if there's a way. Dang it. I know I could have gone out the window to get away from him again, but I didn't care. Anyways, we're not talking about Ixion. We're talking about Frostpunk. Well, you know, Frostpunk does a little bit too, but my problem with Ixion was that, I feel like it was missing some of the components necessary to make it a really good game. Hero Rest mod. I don't even use bows. I mean, it was a really good game. I don't... Okay, spoilers. You get to this mission pretty early on, because I didn't get anywhere near the end of Ixion. But you get to this mission pretty early on. It might not be early on. It might be like halfway through. I don't know how far the game goes, because I didn't finish it. But the... Okay, that's the room I came in. Yep. You get to this spot where, I think there's like a moving radiation belt kind of thing. And so if you've ever played Frostpunk, Ixion's very similar. But Ixion has a bigger storyline to it, and so you move from place to place, whereas in Frostpunk you're in a place. And so both of them have what I think was a genius mechanic for a city builder, is the oh, I should have put on my gloves. Oh, now I'm out of lockpicks. Never mind. I'm out of lockpicks. Can you make lockpicks? Lock pick. Oh, you can make lockpicks. Oh, but I need a workstation of level 15. So you build your city, and then there's a bigger map. And so you send out teams to go do little quests that get you supplies and more people and stuff like that. And so both Frostpunk and Ixion, stone spear quality, 5. So I really like that in the games, but the problem is that in Ixion, I don't know that there's a way to dock your spaceships. And so you've got your big spaceship, which is where you build your city, and then you've got the little guys just sent out on the map. And the problem is that the radiation is strong enough to destroy those ships. And because it's like Frostpunk, everything is limited resources, and so it's hard to have the resources to replace those broken ships, gone ships, destroyed ships, and their crews. And so that was as far as I made it, and then I'm like, oh, I've got to start over because I didn't know that was gonna happen. If I'd have known that was gonna happen, how was I supposed to know that the map was dynamic like that? None of the rest of the maps were. Right? Like, you're in solar systems, the planets aren't rotating, so why would the radiation travel across there, you know? So I wasn't expecting that. And so I hate when that happens. I hate when Frostpunk does it too. Frostpunk has this point. Oh crap. How many bullets do I have? 15. Is 15 enough to kill this? Oh, well. Dude, I am getting the crap kicked out of me today. Frostpunk has this point in, I think the first mission. Because Frostpunk's got different maps. And I think on the first map, there's a spot where it's like, you could have been collecting enough supplies to complete the missions that you find that you don't know are coming out. But if you don't know they're coming out, then there's no way you're going to have enough stuff to complete the missions, right? And so it's like, oh, like if I'd have known I needed to collect that much wood, I would have stepped up my wood production. It wasn't even I needed to step up wood production or coal production. It's that I didn't have enough storage space for how much I needed. Did I do these rooms? It looks like it. And so if I'd known ahead of time, I could have built the storage space and had the supplies ready, because it wasn't a minuscule amount. And you know, even though I was making more than I needed, I mean, even the main quest doesn't let you know ahead of time that you're gonna, like, super spoilers. Wow, I can barely talk today. Super spoilers. Oh, that dude just knocked me out. Don't worry, guy. I'll be back. Doors are open now. It'll be easier to get in here. At the end of the map, it gets so cold in Frostpunk that you can't operate your buildings. And so you have to have enough food and coal and stuff built up. Whoops. So that you can survive the, I don't know how long it is. I want to say it's 3 days, but it might be 3 weeks. I can't remember. Of super cold before the storm breaks. And so that's how the map ends, is whether or not you have enough supplies to survive that. And so there's no knowing going in, right, the first time you play it, that that's going to happen. Or even the 18th time you go to play if you can't get through it, because it's a tough game. And so you know, I'm not a big fan of that. Anyways, that's got nothing to do with what I wanted to talk about. Now that we've talked for 13, did that guy just go down from one hit? I was one hit away. So yeah, so Frostpunk, I love that game. I've played it, like I said, over 200 hours. I've beaten every map except the newest one. I don't know what the deal is with the newest one. Every time I go to play Frostpunk, I start over from the first map and then start to play through them, and then I get distracted and I don't get all the way through it. But oh, that guy just went down from one hit too. That's awesome. That one just went down from one hit too. What's going on? Oh, why didn't you take that one down with one hit? I was gonna be excited. I was gonna be super excited. I was like, man, you know, 3 hits isn't bad either. Got no lockpicks. Oop, why did I pick up that book? Okay. Okay, we got two lockpicks. All right. So I love it. I love that game. And so I guess a little bit the way it's played is it's a pretty detailed city builder. Oh, dang it. So close. So close. And so it's like down to the person. And um there's like wreckage, and you send your people out, and you got to tell it how many people to send out, and so you're like managing down to the person. And almost. And it's not like Sims, which you managed individual people, but it's like, you can see the people. And then, like, to be able to do stuff, you have to get the supplies, okay? And so I didn't even look to see what those books were. I just clicked on them and clicked use. Oh, claw hammer quality 3 I can make now. Okay, I'm gonna be here a while. So I don't know. I really dug that aspect, and you build like roads, and everything's gonna be connected by a road, and you got to go through this big tech tree, and you got to make sure the heat's on, and you got to rapidly research through the tech tree as it gets colder and colder, and and so I don't know. I really enjoyed the specificity of the original Frostpunk, and I really love like the old SimCity games. Okay, this is gonna play into my critique here. Um, SimCity, SimCity 1 was cool because I don't think I'd ever played anything like it before. But when you got to like SimCity 2000, SimCity 3000, SimCity 4, those games were next tier. They were so cool, where you had to put in like the piping and the electrical, and and you got the different zones, and they have to be put in a certain ways, and you're trying to balance your laws and your budgets and all that stuff, right? And so Frostpunk was a little bit like that, but there wasn't so much of a budget in Frostpunk, and you it was really focused on trying to get enough resources and keeping your people alive as it got colder and colder. And so I right, Frostpunk 2 is coming. Now, I don't like to look ahead, and I like to look ahead and know about a game really too much before I play it. I never have. I don't want to be spoiled. Like, I might see a trailer, but I don't watch the whole trailer, kind of thing. I don't want to see. I want to see like gameplay usually for like if there's a game coming up, I might watch a little bit of. I might watch a little bit of like, oh look, this is a cool feature, but I don't want to know like how the game is gonna play for real. I want to go in unknowing and figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, then I might go look it up, right? So, Frostpunk 2, I didn't really look at what they were doing with Frostpunk 2. And so I'm imagining, right? I love Frostpunk, but Frostpunk's the whole thing about building in these little, like, craters, basically, because you gotta stay out of the freezing cold. So now, this is Frostpunk 2. This is after they survive the winter, is what I'm thinking, right? So now I'm thinking, all right, now they're gonna do some kind of, like, reclaim the wilderness thing, right? And you've got your main city, but now you're gonna have to like build these outlier cities and connect them back to the main city, and and try to manage all the resources from some place that's already used up a lot of the resources, and stuff like that. But I expected it to be like Frostpunk, and if you've ever played the SimCity games and you played through, I'm gonna go get that safe now, I think. And you ever played through like SimCity 4, and then you found out they were doing a new SimCity, and then you were super excited about the new SimCity, and then you got the new SimCity, and then the new SimCity is trash. Frostpunk 2 isn't trash like SimCity's trash, but it leans in that direction. And I'm not saying the game is trash, because SimCity SimCity like ripped the heart out of what a SimCity game is for no reason and just made like a mobile game. I don't know. And it feels like Frostpunk 2 leans toward a mobile game to me. I don't really I don't really care for some of the things that they have done to the game. Still basically building a city around canyons. Now, I'll admit I'm only on the first map. Technically the second map. I did the prologue map. It was short. But whereas the first one was very specific, where you're like, you know, I can only put 2 people in the medical building because I need 4 people in the research building kind of thing. This one almost ignores number of people. And you had to research everything in Frostpunk 1. And so it was a huge research balance because you didn't have enough time to research everything. And so you had to pick and choose, and on top of that, the temperature is constantly going colder and colder. So you had to make sure you researched things like housing insulation and generator power and generator efficiency ahead of the cold, while also trying to make sure that you research like, how do we mine more coal? How do we find people in the wilderness faster? You know, that kind of stuff. And so there's a real trick to getting everything that you need to stay alive. That required you to make decisions on, you know, how you were going to get coal. Like, there's like 2 different systems on getting coal. There's 2 different systems on getting wood. There's, I think there's only 1 system on getting steel. And then there's like the cores were a big deal. And then like automatons, right? You get these big giant robots that can do stuff for you. And but they take cores and they require steam to fuel them, and you know, so there's a lot of do I make another automaton or do I make another hothouse to grow food, right? And you're very limited on your cores for the most part. Yeah, this the new Frostpunk so far has almost completely done away with any of that. Everything that made Frostpunk to me is gone. It's still cold, and there's still a fluctuation in temperatures. But okay, these. Do I need these? Fuel usage. I don't feel like that's that useful to me. Oh, I thought I grabbed something else with that would need in there, but I guess not. And so, oh, you know, I don't need this. I don't know, man. It instead of building individual buildings, you know, build districts mostly. There's still some individual buildings, but they go in the districts. And you don't get to choose the size of your districts. So it's more like a puzzle game. And so everything's covered in ice. And so you gotta send your guys out. There's a group called the Frostbreakers. And so first you have to have enough people, and I don't remember what the supplies are called. It can't be the one type of supply. There's a few different types of supplies. So you know what it is? The first map, the prologue, called them scraps, but the second map calls them heat something. Heat stamps. I don't even know what a heat stamp is. But they call them heat stamps. And this is the thing that really makes it like a mobile game to me, is that you can't do anything if you don't have enough heat stamps. So the way to get heat stamps is wait, because they just constantly come in from your civilians. And I'm not certain that you can really do a whole lot to like increase like you can't like I'm going to send people to scavenge heat stamps. That's not a thing. Uh like you just whatever civilians you have, you'll get some heat stamps. There might be ways to make them produce more heat stamps, but there's not like a heat stamp building. There's not something I can add to the game to get more heat stamps. I can research, or I can make a law that helps them produce more heat stamps, but there's no way for me to directly, add a building that's going to let me get more heat stamps. And so I find that weird that I'm now beholden to I'm now beholden to this thing where I'm waiting for, you know, my energy for the day, basically is what it feels like. Those mobile games. And and then the overworld is way different. Oh, this is a read. All right, I thought you were a thing. And so now instead of sending out your teams to find things, it's all split into these regions, and so you click on a region, and then you have to have enough. You have to have enough guys. I really need to label these. You have to have enough guys to send out to be able to search it, and then once you've searched it, then you might get some things you can click on, and then you can spend heat stamps and people, because everything costs heat stamps to complete the mission, whatever it is. And I don't know, the district thing is just weird. Like, first you gotta send in your Frostbreakers, and so like to put down housing, okay? To put down housing in Frostpunk, everything in Frostpunk was balanced around the generator that's in the center. And so the first layer around the generator starts with heat. And so you want to put your tents in. And so for every tent holds 10 people. And so when the game starts, you've got like 80, I think it might be 70 something people. And so you got to put down 8 tents, right? As soon as you can, or else your people will start getting cold and sick. And so now you start and you send your Frostbreakers out to break up the ice around the city. And then once you have 6 hexes cleared, you then put down the 6 hexes required for a residential district. And that's it. I'm not sure how many people fit in a district. I didn't look. It just, it costs some prefabs, which I've gotten from sending out or building an excavation district. Excavation district, I think, is that one 6 or is it 5 hexes? So the whole map is in hexes now, and so like you don't build roads anymore. You just put down. You'd send out your Frostbreakers, and you gotta Frostbreak a trail out to whatever it is you're trying to do, and everything's an extractor. Like before, there were like special buildings for things. Like if you wanted food, right, you put down hunter lodges, and then at night, the people you had assigned would go out and hunt for animals. Well, now there's a little food icon on the screen. It looks like a little plant icon on the screen, which means it's fertile soil. And so you send your Frostbreakers out to break up the frost over top of the fertile soil. And then once you get like 5 hexes cleared, including that fertile soil hex, then you can put down a food district. What kind of food? I don't know. There are no choices. Just the food district. And now food magically comes from the food district. And before, it was like, I have to research all this stuff to make the hunters better. And, then you might choose, do I use the... I don't think I'm ready to go into a hospital. I think that might be a bit much. Yeah, let's see what's around behind the hospital here. And, I don't know. It's such a different style of game. And so I find myself just sitting there waiting for the heat stamp number to go up because there's nothing I can do to increase it. I mean, I can build more housing districts and then I can add more people from the overland map if I find them, but I can't do anything to increase the number of people. Or the number of heat stamps I'm getting. Like, I think I get 11 a turn, they call it, or 11 a week. And it costs like 120 heat stamps to make that next district. And so I have to wait 10 weeks of game time to make my next district. And there's nothing I can do to, like, I can put in, and the heating. The heating was such a thing in the first game. And in this one, it's just like, do you have enough fuel coming in? Because if you have enough fuel coming in, that's all that matters. There's no more researching to get the better heat systems. That's all gone. There's no researching. I mean, there is researching, but it's so niche. Like, okay, so the point in the first one is that your city's already built, and so you're just adding on above the crater, and what you're doing is you are attempting to you need fuel. They're out of fuel, basically. And so there's a bunch of what do they call them? Shallow coal deposits, I think is what they were called. And so they're close enough together that I could cover all the coal deposits with 2 extractor buildings. 2. So in the first game, right, you might be able to get a couple inside, but even coal deposits that were near each other might take you 2 buildings. And we're talking like I covered with 2 buildings. I probably, because you can expand your districts too, and so I probably covered 15 hexes with 2 buildings. And so then with those 2 buildings, then you go and you research, and I do like the law stuff. That's interesting. That's a new thing that they've got where you go in. I mean, you made laws before, but now, this is actually full of water. What if I poke a hole in it? I don't know what happens. So, so you do your research, and so I've got coal coming in, and I've got enough coal coming in to keep my generator heating everything I've got. But if I want to get the coal out faster, then I can research. And so there's, I think when I started there were 3 factions, and now I think I can get up to 5 factions. And so to pass a law, you have to have the votes from enough people. Oh, well, that was not what I was trying to do. Oh, great. Okay, I thought I was trapped forever there. I even moved back away from the ladder because I thought I was hitting the floor. I wanted to make sure I wasn't hitting the ladder. Turns out I was wrong. So, so there's, I think when you start, there's 3 factions. There's the Frostlanders. There's the Stalwarts. And there's the New Londoners. And so the stalwarts and the New Londoners, they like the idea of using dynamite, basically, and to get more coal. And so that will increase the amount of coal that you're producing if you build that specific building in the extraction district. And then the Frostlanders, they want a machine that sucks up all the coal dust and turns it into loose bricks. So I went with the dynamite because I felt like it was, I don't know, it gave you more, and the downside of that choice didn't seem too bad. But then the second level, then that opened up advanced mining, and so that one was like another form of explosives or mine shafts. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go with mine shafts this time. And so I saw a dog. Oh, I can't repair it. Okay, I saw a dog house. I didn't see a dog. I saw a dog house back here. Oh, hi. Hi. Hear him? Hi, he said. And so then they only let me have one of those buildings after I researched the second building. And I'm like, oh, well, wasn't expecting you. Do you still explode? Remember they used to explode? I don't know if they still explode. Back in the day, you'd kill these guys fast, so that they... Oh. Well, thanks, guy. Wasn't expecting that either. You kill them fast so that they would drop their loot bag. If they exploded, they wouldn't drop a loot bag. And then that way you could get higher-end weapon stuff from them. Anyways, oh, the firehouse is on fire. So they, I forgot what I was saying. Anyways, it feels like I'm just waiting on time now instead of resource amounts, because the civilian-based resources aren't something that I can do anything about in the world. Like I can tweak it a little bit, but it's not like I can go find another deposit of heat stamps. It only comes from civilians, and there's a limited number of civilians. So it's not like I can go, oh, I'm out of coal, let me go find some more coal, right? Because that's something you do in the game. You can go find another... I found a coal mine, right? And then we start a little outpost. And then that brings me in coal from the overland map. Currently, I've got 2, so they did do the thing that I thought would be cool. I do have a second colony now connected to the first colony, and the point of it is to provide oil to my first place, and then I can swap from coal to oil for heat. And then because oil was not a thing in the first game, and I can swap to oil, but I have to be able to make enough oil. And so I was still trying to figure out how to do that. I hadn't figured that part out yet. I feel like the thing that I need to shift between cities isn't a thing that they let you shift between cities. So I've got to figure out how to do that. But I don't know. It's not as Frostpunk 1, I felt like, you know, you had to get things done quickly, or else you were going to die. Frostpunk 2 is like, I have 178 weeks of coal, it says. So I'm going to sit around and wait for my heat stamps to build up so I can build that next random district that I don't know if I need or not. Just yeah. I'm disappointed in it. I'm disappointed in it. It's still okay. Don't get me wrong. It's not terrible. It's not like SimCity was terrible. SimCity was terrible. But it's a different kind of game than Frostpunk. And I wanted Frostpunk 2. I didn't want here's another game in the same story, you know? Here's a different kind of game. It's like, okay, here's a good example. It's like Gotham City Knights versus the Arkham games, right? They are very similar in how they go, and they have the same characters, but the way they play is different in a way that makes Gotham City Knights not as good as the Arkham games. You know? So, yeah. Oh. Well, I didn't even hear that guy coming in from behind me. But yeah, I'm gonna play it some more, obviously. I wanna like it. And maybe it'll get better. Maybe it's an awesome game and I just haven't got past, the first map. Because it looks like there's like a campaign, and so you gotta go from like the prologue. Okay, this is weird. So in the prologue you play the Wanderers, and the Wanderers come in, and the Wanderers find oil and broke down. I forget what the train things are called. I can never remember what they're called. They have the generator in them. The the dreadnoughts. I think they're dreadnoughts. And so they found a dreadnought, and then they had to figure out how to power it, and then they found oil, and then that's where you learned how to build the districts and stuff. And so then you get oil for the dreadnought, and then once you basically do the little tutorial mission, it goes to the next thing. So my new camp is my new camp to provide oil is that first map. Just it's empty. Like some of the things I did, well, I don't know. Nothing I did was still there, I guess. And so I thought that was a little weird. Like, I'm kind of surprised they didn't find what I did in the prologue, And so, not that made a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. And, I've tried 3 times now to put this water in there. I don't know why I couldn't manage that. And so, it's not as good as Frostpunk. It's not as good as Frostpunk. It's going to have to greatly improve to be as good as Frostpunk for me. And I don't understand why the first game was all like, we're going to die. You have to do everything precisely, not super precisely, but, you can't be wasting your people. You can't let your people freeze to death. You can't let them starve. You can't use that wood to research that thing, because then you won't have wood to research this other thing. Right. We have to pass a law so that I have to provide soup to my people because I can't bring enough food in currently, to keep enough meals going for everybody. Cold snap came through, and now I've got too many people that need in the hospital, so now I gotta build more hospitals, which means I need to pull engineers out. There aren't even hospitals. There's no medical stuff that I've done yet. There's no medical district. All I've got are our food district, the industrial district, which makes goods or prefabs, the logistics district, which is how you create your teams to go out on the overland map, the extraction district, which is for everything that's not food, and the housing districts. That's all the districts I have unlocked so far. and then I can build the one individual thing I can build are storehouses for each of the types of goods. And then I think I've managed to research like 3 buildings for extractors specifically regarding coal extraction and oil extraction so far. And passed a few laws, but even the laws don't unlock as you play. Like before, everything was on a tree. So if I wanna research coal mining, I have to research coal mining, and then there's a whole tree opens up underneath of that on how to improve those coal miners, right? And in this one, it's like, okay, make a choice between dust or explosives. And so I chose explosives. And then that opened up the next one. And then the choice in that was mine shafts or more explosives. And I'm like, okay, so I chose mine shafts. And I think there's a third one now, but I didn't even look to see what it was because I don't need it. It's not important. I'm not in a rush. I don't know. I don't know what the point is. And uh so yeah. All right, that's enough. That's enough. With that, we burn the small things, lean to the light. I will talk to you later.